All right, so as the suspense now builds over the Indo-US trade talks, the latest development is that a US trade delegation has reached Delhi. It is all set for resuming trade talks between India and the United States. The visit is absolutely crucial as India and the US are working to finalize the first tranche of an interim trade arrangement. The US officials visited India back in September. This visit, this latest one, comes against the backdrop of US President Donald Trump warning that he may introduce new tariffs on agricultural imports, particularly on rice imports from India, even as these trade talks continue without being able to get them to a conclusion, to a finality, where at least an interim trade agreement can be announced by both sides. Trump was in fact speaking to a bunch of farmer representatives, farmer organizations last night, and he took off on Indian rice being dumped into the United States.
Why is India allowed to do that? They have to pay tariffs. Do they have an exemption on rice?
No, sir. We're still working on their trade deal. So
yeah, but they should be dumping. I mean, I heard that from others. So you can't do that.
So is India dumping rice in the United States? Now, India produces nearly 150 million metric tons of rice. It's the world's largest producer of rice. It amounts for 28% of the total global share of rice output that is put out every single year. China follows at a close second. China produces 27% of the global share of rice output. And that, of course, is then followed by smaller countries, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Vietnam. These are countries that have single-digit contribution as far as the total global rice output is concerned. Out of this 28% global rice output that India produces, how much actually goes to the United States? In fact, the US is not even in the top 5 major export destinations for Indian rice. The largest happens to go to Saudi Arabia, almost 10% there, 9.67% of the total rice output that is exported from India goes to Saudi Arabia. It is then followed by other countries in the Middle East, including Iran, Iraq, the United Arab Emirates, Benin, and also Bangladesh. India exports even 3.7% of its total rice output to a small country like Togo. But to the United States, only 3.15% of India's rice exports go to the United States. So when Trump says that India is dumping low-priced Indian basmati rice into the American market, as far as India is concerned, it is only 3% of the total rice output, the total rice exports that India sends from India to other countries.
A US trade delegation led by the Deputy USTR is going to visit India from the 10th to the 12th of December. Both the sides are going to discuss all pending issues, including the issue of tariffs, which currently are at 50%, which includes 25% reciprocal tariffs. Both the sides are looking forward to resolving all pending issues in the talks which are going to take place over a period of 2 days. It's not a fresh round of negotiations yet. However, both the sides remain confident of resolving pending issues, even as they are looking to seal the first tranche of a bilateral trade agreement, and they're also looking to address the pending issue of tariffs. As far as bridging the trade deficit with India is concerned, the US has repeatedly flagged that the trade deficit with India, along with several other countries, has been an issue of concern for them, and that certainly may figure in part of the negotiations which are going to take place between India and the United States. Meanwhile, India is also planning to increase its overall trade in energy, particularly in crude oil and natural gas with the United States. Earlier, the Commerce Ministry had indicated that India can import more crude oil and natural gas worth 12 to 13 billion US dollars from the United States without altering the configuration of its refineries. So that may allay some concerns on the American side. Also, India is aiming to overall diversify its energy import portfolio subject to availability at the right price. Now, this trade delegation visit would come less than a week after the Russian delegation had visited India, including Russian President Vladimir Putin. And now India is looking to diversify its overall trade, not just in terms of energy imports, but also in terms of exports with several geographies, including the United States. So clearly, the talks are going to mention several issues pertaining to tariffs and also pertaining to market access, which has been flagged as a concern several times.